Hi, book nerds. We're coming at you live from one of the new bookshelves in the new apartment. We're still unpacking, but this area is relatively neat. Pay no mind to the messy hair and the glasses. We've walked the dog this morning. We have started drinking our coffee, and it felt only apropos to have coffee out of the NASA mug since yesterday was the landing of Artemis 2. So very excited. I've been watching that through and through. I decided to try something different this year and do a quarterly wrap-up because I just moved. So quarter one was a stressful time knowing that I was getting ready to move for March. But we are happy. We are healthy. We are in the new place. Cora loves it. I love it. I get to finish decorating. There's still a lot of work to go and a lot of stuff to unpack and get rid of and put away. But we're moving. We're functional in the space. I read while I was moving. Now, a lot of this, we're going to have this little handy dandy notebook of my YouTube planning in front of me because I read a lot of audiobooks, especially the first 2 months because I was super stressed getting ready. And my previous apartment, if you've seen any of the other videos, is extremely small. So the idea of packing and moving without having access to this space was very difficult because there was no way you could pack everything. It took me 2 weekends just to get the big furniture out, and then I had been packing a couple of boxes and moving over to the new space from the beginning of March. All of my books were basically moved over here before we started because with the new inventory of books for 2026 and after the move and the purge, we're looking at 331 books. I believe I'm under 150 that I haven't read. So we're making progress, but we're still at like 300 books. If you guys want how I organized the books, let me know because I have a new bookshelf. I have this bookshelf behind me. I have space in my room. I have my trophy shelf. There's a lot of space, but if you want to see what is actually in my book inventory, I'd be happy to go over that with you. But let's get into this wrap up. We're going to see 2026 quarter one in January, February, and March. I read 29 books, totaling 8,762 pages with a total of 84.6 audio hours. I physically read 17 books, 10 audio, and 2 digital. January I had just finished Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 3, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. I read it to get ahead of my kid because my kid and I had been reading the audiobook since October of 2025. But he will only listen to it via audiobook. I got to the point where I just wanted to continue. I want to read that. So that was my last book of 2025. So coming into 2026, the first book that I picked up was My Queen, Elsie Silver. And I continued her Rose Hill series with Wildside. This follows Tabby and Reese, and Reese is a quiet man. Tabby is dealing with a lot. Her sister had just passed away. She had custody of her son. However, Tabby's sister has some issues. There are some trigger warnings, so check those before you read this one. This one I think the reason this is my favorite from the series is because I have dealt with things similar to Tabby, not in my immediate family like her with her sister, but it is something that my family has dealt with. So I know all of those feelings that Tabby was going through, and especially with the fact that the family member I'm speaking about also had a child, and it was hard, especially when their kid is a couple years older than my own. So this book hit hard for me, but to have Reese there, realizing that Tabby just wants the best thing for her nephew. She absolutely adores her nephew, and the stories that Reese got told about the family and what Tabby was told, 2 different things. Plus you have his secret identity, which is the whole reason that you have this little mask on. He is a wrestler. So fun. I used to watch wrestling with my uncle when he would babysit us, and it was one of the best things ever. I absolutely love this book. For 2026, I'm really not giving star ratings on books. I'm just giving books the yes or no, would I recommend them? Are they some of my favorite books? Things like that. I absolutely love this. This wrecked my heart, my soul. I cried, I laughed, I had a grand old time with everything. This was my favorite out of the series. I did an immersion read with this because I had the audiobooks on my Audible from before because I prefer to use Libro. But I really did enjoy this. It was helpful whenever I had migraines because you're going to see in January, I didn't read a whole lot of books. I think I read 8, which is another goal of mine for the year, is to slow down on what I'm reading and only read books that I want to enjoy and take my time with and things like that. So we're going to move on to the next book that I read, which was a Kindle read. We're going to pop the cover in here. This was Married to the Alien Cowboy. And if you know anything about me, you know that I love cowboys. And one of my book besties, her name is Emily. She's also an author. Her author name is Emily Rex. She wrote Red Zone Realizations, which is a great sports romance about football, and fabulous. But she gave me this one for my 12 and 12, 12 friends, or 12 Recs and 12 by 12 friends, however you want to call it. It's in my journal. I read this and had a goofy, gaffy good time. I did not realize that it was kind of mafia adjacent, so it wasn't my cup of tea. Like, the way that the intro of how it started was not my favorite. However, I did have a good time with it for what it was. It was not a very long book. It was something that I could read right before bed, and have a goofy, gaffy good time. And it was super fun. And there was yearning. So, it was fun. Emily and my friend Bridget are my monster romance girlies. So if I want a monster romance, I go to them for recommendations. So highly recommend checking them out or asking them questions about what their favorite monster romances are. But that was the alien, Married to the Alien Cowboy, and goofy, gaffy good time. And it's a series. It's so fun. The next book that I read was actually this one. It was The Gate of the Feral Gods, which is book 4 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This is the first one in the series that I gave a perfect score to. If I was rating, it would be a 5-star. I loved this. I loved how Katya had to have her moments. I loved the new crawlers that got brought into this. I freaking love Donut and Mongo. And I love how you get to see Carl and how he handles NPCs and things like that. And also just the game breaking of the game. The AI is on Carl's side, I think. Or is he? Because, man, that AI has a foot fetish. I tell you what, man. It was super fun. I had a great time. I tandem read this, so with my eyeballs and with my ear holes, I would go back and forth, especially going into work and things like that. But at the end so there's a few things about the hardcovers that if you don't know, you should. Because when you take the dust jackets off, which these dust jackets do something super cool, and if you haven't seen it on social media, you need to see it. Still trying to figure out how to make it do it myself, but I have all of the books, so we're going to see. So, cats do not swim, Carl. So it always has a little quote that pertains to the book that you have to read to figure it out. And then at the end of the book, you also get, so this one's part 4. So you get a little bonus story of what is going on with some NPCs. So I highly recommend the audiobooks as your primary source of reading. But I do recommend the hardbacks because you do get that little bonus epilogue. However, book 5 is going to come up here in a little bit. That one needs to be consumed by audio. We'll discuss that when we get to Butcher's Masquerade. But I absolutely loved Feral Gods. I love this. You also get to meet one of the best characters in the dungeon. In this book, I think I love her, but I can't spoil that for you. Delightful. This whole book was a rip-roaring good time. The next one that I read is In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. This is the final book of the When in Rome or Rome, Kentucky series that Sarah wrote that follows the Walker siblings. This one follows Madison and James. So James is a farmer who lives right across from her older brother, and Madison is a cook. So this turns into Madison coming home, James and Madison starting a restaurant, and it was super great. Like the way that they quietly support each other and just give each other the things that they need. I genuinely loved everything about this book. This one's tough of which one's my favorite. For a long time, it was Practice Meets Perfect, which is Annie and Noah's the brother. Annie and Will, the tattoo, and the bodyguard. That's Amelia's bodyguard whenever she's singing. But honestly, the last 3 books of this series were just Beg, Borrow, and Steal was glorious as an oldest daughter, hit all the marks. But this one, it was just the way that they quietly supported each other, quietly loved each other, and just were right there for each other. Also, this is the Target exclusive edition because I loved her in the yellow dress. But I love this book. I love this series. It is mildly spicy. There's maybe 1 spicy scene, maybe 2. I'm not 100% on that. I have notes, but I don't know where I put them. I don't know where I put that notebook because the first 2 books are closed-door romances. The last 2 have 1 or 2 scenes. But I really enjoyed this. I loved James and Madison and how, even though they didn't think that the other loved them, they showed up. The only thing that I did not like about this book is that James's brother tried to make this a love triangle situation and was not a fan. The reason that he did it does get brought up into the book, and it does make sense. Sort of, but I still was not a fan. It made me feel kind of icky. But I loved James and Madison so much. This one, you're not going to get thoughts on. I did read Assassin's Apprentice, but this is an upcoming vlog where I am reading through Maddie Reads All the Hob. So I have lots of in-depth thoughts about Assassin's Apprentice coming to you. I still have to read Royal Assassin. It's been a hectic couple months. It was supposed to be one of these a month. It's going to be longer than that. Royal Assassin is on my plans to read for April, but it hasn't happened yet. But we're working on it. April's a big reading month. Maybe we'll discuss what I'm actually reading in April so far. Now, February was very much an audiobook heavy month. I did finally finish Dungeon Crawler Carl 3, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook with Talon at the beginning of February. We did start into Feral Gods, so I'm ending up rereading a couple of the books, but I did finally finish book 3 with Talon, so that was consumed strictly audio with Talon. He only listens to the audiobooks. He is not a fan of anything else. I missed 2 books from January. I read A Song for the Wild Built, which was strictly through audio through my library app, through Libby. So that was a recommendation from my friend Mai, and it follows Monk and Robot. Glorious little simple novella. Loved the audiobooks. And the last one that I read in January was The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I read that on Kindle. Absolutely love that book. That book destroyed me. If you do not like a story that kind of is circular, so it is a time loop story. However, it is not the same story over and over. There are pieces that are the same, but something gets changed. Kind of gives the vibes of Addie LaRue without being Addie LaRue. Very different. Still a relatively short novel. I believe it is based off of one of her short stories that she turned long form. I absolutely love this book. I was devastated, and it was so good. So good. You have Una, who is a knight, and then you have Owen, who is the transcript or the writer of Una's story. He gets sent back in time to meet Una, something that he's been obsessed with for years, only to find out that they've been doing this a while, but you don't know why. And you don't know why until like the end of the story. And that twist, holy shit. I tell you what, buddy. Okay, moving in to February. Again, we finished Dungeon Crawler Carl. I did finish The Monk and Robot duology, which is a song or a prayer for the crown shy, which was also through audio through my Libby app. And then I did read The Princess Diarist by Carrie Fisher, which is her memoir specifically about the Star Wars years and her affair with Harrison Ford, which was fabulous. I also love Carrie Fisher, and as a bipolar girly, Carrie Fisher speaks to my soul, and I absolutely love her. So the fact that she has 3 or 4 different memoirs, they're always perfect for me. They never get rated because they're someone else's life, and who am I to judge somebody else's life? Then I did read another memoir, which was Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights, also through audio and through Libby. And Matthew McConaughey has such a way of telling stories. Also, his voice is very soothing. But listening to his story and how he got to where he was and how it went through the different pieces of his life, because you get the growing up in Texas, you get the way that his family dynamic was. You get dazed and confused and all right. And you get all of these little anecdotes, little pieces. I do want to get this one. I'm not a big, I prefer to listen to a memoir whenever it's the person reading their story. I do want to get a copy of Green Lights just because some of the things that he said have stuck with me. I don't want to misquote Matthew McConaughey and his story, but some of those are written down in my annotation journal that I've been working on. And I would like a physical copy to actually annotate the book. It was that good. I am missing one book. I cannot find it. It is in this house somewhere. But it was in my room when I moved. Therefore, it's in a random box. But I did read Wuthering Heights. I'm not going to give you my thoughts and stories on this, but here's the cover of the book that I read. I do have a book, another vlog coming out with my thoughts about this, because I'm going to read all of the Brontes and kind of do a Battle of the Brontes style thing. Because did you know that there were 3? Because I didn't realize that all 3 Bronte sisters published. I thought it was just Charlotte and oh my God, Emily. Oh my God, I'm talking about Emily Bronte's book. Jesus Christ, my brain just died. Apparently, this is my first cup of coffee. It is half calf because of all of the medical issues. So it takes a little bit longer for my brain to start working. After Wuthering Heights, we did touch this one. This is The Butcher's Masquerade. This is my favorite book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This book wrecked my soul in so many ways, and I can't tell you anything about it, except if you look here, Donut has a spotlight. I totally didn't even see Carl up here for the first time, and again, we'll give you the little sneak peek. All eyes on me. And then some of the NPCs that are along the way that you've met in book 1 and book 2 and book 3, they end up in the back. Like I was telling you about that secret special epilogue, they all end up there. I will tell you, this book has such character growth. My brother-in-law and I are also reading it. I believe he's caught up and waiting for the final book. And he yelled at me. He's like, "What are you doing? Why have you not finished it?" I couldn't touch Dungeon Crawler Carl after this book because I continued to think about it consistently and want to cry my eyeballs out because of things that happened. I will tell you, again, this book needs to be audio or a dual. Like, you need audio and the book, whether that's on your Kindle, whether that's physically holding the book. Do both because A, you get the epilogue here. B, you get a separate epilogue, which I will tell you is 100% worth it, and Donut sings. If you've heard the audios along TikTok, great, fantastic. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you haven't and you've been great and managed to avoid spoilers, you're going to fucking love it. Point blank, end of discussion. It's going to be great. There's so much character growth for just Donut and Katya and Pony. Pony is fabulous. You meet another character that had been in a previous level. I believe it was book 2, maybe. I don't remember who's in what level and where. I think it's book 2 though, because it definitely wasn't 4, and it definitely wasn't 3. So yeah, this one wrecked my whole soul. I highly recommend it. This is my favorite of the series so far. I am currently reading Bedlam Bride. Finally. I took a month off from Dungeon Girl or Carl because my heart hurt because of this book right here. I have 2 more that I read physically, and the only other books that I read in February. I finally went on the Heated Rivalry train and read Shane and Ilya's story. I still need to watch the show, but I really did enjoy this one. Also, I stand by this as Sidney Crosby fanfiction, because you can't sit there and tell me that's not Penn's colors. Go Pens. Especially after this season, with the way that Sid the Kid is playing and the entirety of the Penguins, and how everybody thought that the Penguins weren't going to do anything this NHL season. We have a real shot for the cup, and I would love to see Sid and Malkin get one more cup before they start retiring, because funny enough, Sid is like my age, roughly, maybe a year older, maybe a year younger, somewhere around there, but he's like right around my age. I fucking love that man. He is one of the most genuine people ever. Love him. But yes, Shane and Ilya, I love them. This is smutty. There ain't no way around it. It is smutty. It's a little smuttier than I personally like. However, I could eat up hockey boys all day. Take me to the boy aquarium. Give me a book boy aquarium book. Yeah, if you like smut and you like hockey and you like boys, loving boys, perfect. Last book that I read was the book club for Sid's Book Club, which is Catabasis. I love this book. There's a lot of mixed reviews about this, but this book was like right up my alley. I grew up as a teenager absolutely loving Dante's Inferno. So this book in particular, about a journey into hell, to save a teacher, and the journey that you go on because you have done this. And the fact that Alice is with her rival, what's his name? Peter? Yeah, Peter. Peter and Alice go down to save their teacher, and their journey through the different parts of hell and why they're there and everything that they go through and the trauma that they work themselves through was right up my alley. Now, is there things that I didn't understand because of the science and stuff? Sure. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand in a lot of books, but because R.F. Kuang is smarter than I am, and that's okay. But the themes of this book and everything else, I absolutely ate this up. Also, this book is beautiful. Like, I freaking love it. Yeah, hell is other people, is what the spray did just say. So, Catabasis. I would recommend it to people like me that grew up loving Inferno, loving the idea of the journey to hell to rescue someone, doing all of that information. Now, I would not recommend it to the casual fantasy reader or somebody that does not enjoy it because, like I said, very mixed reviews. Not a lot of people liked it. In fact, I'm pretty sure the book club was very split on it, and a lot of people didn't like it. I think I was in the minority of who actually liked Catabasis, but Catabasis was for me. So if you like some of the books that I like, if you like or have some of the history of growing up in the church and having a granddad for a pastor, and being obsessed with Dante's Inferno, it might work for you. Now we have gotten into March, which, in case you haven't noticed, there has been a theme of I am trying to read a nonfiction every month. So I read a Without Consent, which is about the first trial for spousal rape. And it follows all through up until like 2013. It's not an easy read. I read it to and from work only. I did not read it any other time. So it's like a half hour, 45 minutes on my drive and walk into work. I read that via audio through Libby. If you are interested in our country and this is an important topic to you, it is worth the read. I wasn't a huge fan of the narrator, but if you jump up the speed, it ended up working for me. It is a very important book. I do highly recommend it if this is a topic that is important to you. We're just going to go through the audiobooks that I read because there's another 3, and then we'll go into my physical books. I then read Murder Bimbo, which was also through the library, which I don't know how I feel about this one. It's not very memorable, but with everything that is happening in our world and everything that has happened, it felt very weird to be reading it because it is a woman that gets hired to kill a prominent potential political figure. And if you're from the US, it's very similar to something that happened at the end of towards the end of 2025. So take that with a grain of salt. It felt like that. Like it felt like somehow this book was being predicted of what had happened, because with publishing, books don't come out in linear form. It just so happens that this book came out after that happened. Like it was already in that publishing pipeline. So it's very weird. I also got like unreliable narrators, and I love an unreliable narrator, but it's one of those I don't know if I'd recommend it. It would be tricky for me to recommend it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Maybe. I also read the Idaho 4, the one that was by James Patterson and someone else. This is a story about the 4 college kids that were murdered in Idaho, the big national story. And that I remember reading it, and I remember being a mom. And I remember all of the school shootings that I went through. And as a mom, I could not imagine what those parents went through and how each family handled the situation so differently. And it that whole thing hurt me and my soul because I feel so bad for those parents. And then reading it, and the kid that did it is from Pennsylvania. Do with that information as you will. It was weird. I was not a fan of that. Those poor kids. They had so much life. If you are looking for more history and more information, it is a nonfiction. It reads like a fiction book. It was a great time to read the book, but it was very hard and it was very heavy. Especially the chapters that they spent like giving you background on the one who did it. Like but the aftermath of watching these parents and families go through what they did, that was heart-wrenching. It hurt in a way that I can't explain to you. But as a mom, the idea of my child going off to college is terrifying. The last audiobook that I read was The River Has Roots by Amal Motafi, I believe is the author name. Here's the audiobook. I really enjoyed this one. I loved the writing. It was very lyrical. It was very easy to read. It was a very short audiobook about 2 sisters. One of them is in love with a man from a different country that they get together. Something happens. Adventure occurs. So without spoiling anything, it is very in-depth of 2 sisters who love each other very much and what the lengths are that they will go to protect one another. I really enjoyed it. And then I would recommend that. It's a short little audiobook that anybody can consume. And I had a great time with it. As far as physical books, I've managed to continue series, guys. I went into book 2 of Beartown, which is Us Against You. This is... Yeah, I can't really tell you anything about this because if I do, I'm going to spoil things from book 1. They're still dealing with the aftermath of what happened in book 1. Book 1 is incredibly difficult. Please check your trigger warnings. Do not go into that book lightly. This one was hard for different reasons. I absolutely love the characters that are in this. Maybe not so much the adults, but the teens, the team members, the teenagers that are in this book. Love them. The adults, I do enjoy seeing how the parents of one of the kids involved in the first book handle their things, because their marriage is hanging by a thread, and it does show that through this and how things start to work out. So I really do enjoy this series. I have one more to finish, and I'm scared of the winners. But I will be continuing this. I'm very proud. I actually continued a series. Aren't you proud of me? Because I don't finish series. I'm terrible about it. This one was a goofy, gaffy good time. This Colin gets promoted and dooms the world. So Colin works at basically hell, corporate hell. He's a low-level employee at Dark Enterprise, a hell-like multinational corporation solving the world's most difficult problems in deeply questionable ways. So he is on the chopping block for being murdered because he's not meeting his quota, because he was sexually harassed by one of the superior assistants or something, and Colin said, "Nah, fuck you, bitch." So he ends up being worried that he's going to die, because if you fuck up in Dark Enterprises, you get murdered, you get eliminated. So he gets set up. We love Colin and his new boyfriend. We love them. And his best friend, love her. But he gets a promotion. He meets a shadowy figure promising him his heart's deepest desire in return for a small, unspecified favor. And he can't resist the urge to fast track his goals. So basically, if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl, you like LGBTQIA stories, again, playing with that heaven and hell situation, Colin gets promoted and dooms the world. It's not a very long book. It's like a little over 300 pages, 350. It was delightful. I had a grand time with this. This was just so funny. I was cackling reading this book. I highly recommend it. It may or may not have inspired something that I'm participating in the near future that you don't get to know about because it's not announced yet. But if you check the Quest Junkie space or the server, you might actually find out what that is sooner rather than later. But, you know, maybe not. I don't know what I'm talking about. The final books here, we're going to do the non-romance books, and then I did read quite a few romances because I was in the middle of moving. I needed something light, breezy, fun, and not going to rip my heart out. However, we're going to go with this poetry collection by Courtney Peppernell, which is A Month of Sundays. As a bipolar girly, this book felt like it was completely written for me. I was crying and bawling my eyes out a lot of this book, but it also is a book about hope. A lot of people, if you look at the reviews, you're going to see like it's people beating a dead bush. But when you think about it from somebody with a bipolar, like as someone who is bipolar, our thoughts are cyclical. And with everything that I am personally dealing with in my personal life, this book hit in a way that I was not prepared for. I was not prepared to bawl my eyes out. I was not prepared to have that kind of feelings. I read it over the entire month of March. I would, especially on Sundays, because, you know, a month of Sundays. But this is more about your bluest time and getting yourself out and onto the other side. So Yes, highly recommend this one, especially for my bipolar girlies. When you're having a rough day and you need some help, stick to the back end of the book. If you want to be wallowing in your feels, stick to the front half of the book. Be mindful of your moods. I finished Percy Jackson. Well, the first series, the first Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I read The Last Olympian. I loved this book. I bawled my eyes out at the end of this book. I'm sure it's not a spoiler, but I'm not going to tell you because I went into this blind as a 30-something adult reading it for the very first time. You need to read this if you enjoyed this era of YA into Greek mythology. Absolutely love this book. It was fabulous. Perfect ending to the series while still launching into the next project that Rick Riordan did. Loved it. We'll probably continue because we have the books everywhere. I think some of them are at my mom's house, but yeah, we can do. The next one I finished Wildcard. I finished the whole Rose Hill, mostly because Fever Dream comes out. Man, I needed to be up to date on all of my Elsie books that I own, because I need Fever Dream like I need air. There's a reason, if you know anything about it. But we're here to talk about Wildcard. Wildcard is about Bash and Gwen. That's her name. Gwen is a yoga instructor who has daddy issues because her dad tells her all of the time that she's not going to amount to things. And she has this image of she's not the way that she's supposed to look, et cetera, et cetera. She meets Bash in an airport. They have one of those perfect magical moments. Miscommunication happened because she gave him her number and he maybe didn't put it in properly. So Gwen is waiting for a text or a call from Bash, and Bash is thinking that she's blowing him off. So when he finds out, because he met her the day that he found out that he was dad. Everybody in the Wildcard series has some kind of parental role in it. This is Gwen ends up dating Bash's child without realizing or knowing anything because he didn't give her any details. They end up in close proximity. They end up doing these things. She ends up taking a position in Rose Hill and shenanigans happen. They end up creating their cute little family between Gwen and Bash and Clyde. And it's perfect. I enjoyed this book. Again, Wild Side is my favorite, but this one and Wild Eyes comes close to being number 2. I might do a reread eventually. I'm thinking about rereading Chestnut Springs before I do anything, mostly because Fever Dream follows Theo's sister, and Theo is my favorite Chestnut Springs man. I've not talked about Theo in a minute, so be prepared to be sick of me because I will. Last 3, I promise. This is a long video. I'm really sorry. Maybe we'll go back to doing monthlies. I don't know. Cara Bastone's No Matter What was one of the first reads I read in my new apartment. I don't remember when I bought this. And it's also blurbed by Tara DeWitt, another one of my faves. This follows a married couple who are not doing so great after a tragic accident happens. You don't find out exactly what happened to them, except that there was big things that happened until the end. But this is about 2 married people trying to find their way back to each other when they can't speak their language anymore. Roz and Vin has always been quiet, but Roz has always been able to read his thoughts. She is best friends with Vin's brother, so it feels weird. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a big old miscommunication trope at the very beginning. Like, the whole reason all of this happens is because of a miscommunication. They're not listening to each other, or they're not hearing what they're trying to say. Meanwhile, Vin has been very specific about why he's doing what he's doing, and Cara Bastone's books are just so beautiful and heart-wrenching while also being heartwarming. It's a traumatic accident tests the limits of love and resilience as a couple fights to rebuild what was broken and rediscover themselves in a tender, slow burn romance by the best-selling author. And it's exactly that. They still very much love each other. They still very much want to be together, they don't know how to speak to each other. It's a testament to finding the things that make you happy as a person, being there for your partner whenever you need to be there, and also knowing what you need as a human to be there and be the person that is required. I loved it. Highly recommend any of Cara Bastone's books. Loved this book. It was very, very good. I was very, very happy with that one. The next two books, B.K. Borison, baby. I love B.K. Borison. I love everything about the Heartstrings theories. They are based off of Nora Ephron movies. This first one is Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally. But this first one is Aiden and Lucy. Aiden and Lucy meet because Lucy's daughter wants her mom to be happy. She thinks that her mom isn't dating because she's not happy, and she wants her to get out there. So she calls Aiden's radio show. That's the one. And Lucy and Aiden end up going on a journey together, falling in love, shenanigans. Aiden fits right in. I loved everything about this. But he is a dum-dum and doesn't want to do relationships because of things that happened in his past. I absolutely adored this book. It was perfect every single time that I've read it. I read it when it came out last year, and I reread it before going into this delightful thing. And let me tell you, with the weather that has been happening in Western Pennsylvania throughout this year, reading this right out, and then it's snowing somewhere around it, perfect. This is Delilah and Jackson's story, and they are the cutest beans. I was giggling, kicking my feet, screaming about this because every time they interact with each other, it turns into a disaster. But that's because they don't know things or things happen. And they end up having to do this big segment because this big ass storm is coming in, and they are put out on site. Jackson is the guardian of his two younger siblings because his mother can't be trusted. She's very flighty, things that happen. So Jackson has had custody of the twins for a while, and he's very nervous. This is like the first real time that he's leaving. But him and Delilah, he is terrified of being on television. His first TV appearance ends up with finding out why you don't wear green on a green screen. But Delilah is this breath of fresh air in his life because Jackson is very much a rigid schedule because of the things that he has had to experience, where Delilah also has things going on in her life, but she's just trying to bring joy. And they end up like orbiting each other for years that they have been at their stations. But it's being forced together during this snowstorm that they finally start to connect and understand why they do the things that they do. I loved this book. It was so sweet, so kind, so just everything about it was perfect. This is the last book that I read in March, and it was a perfect way to close it out. I absolutely loved everything about Delilah and Jackson. They are perfect little beans. So that is what I have been reading the past 3 months while I was moving. Maybe we'll do monthlies. I don't know how we're going to do this, mostly because I haven't been reading a lot, which is why I'm able to tell you the majority of what happened in all of these books, because I've been taking my time. This one took me almost the entire month of January to read. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. Robin Hobb and I had some moments where we almost didn't like each other, but you'll find out more about that whenever I get the Farseer log out, which hopefully will be soon. The plan was to read one book a month and release it each quarter. That did not turn out well. So, but I'm giving myself some grace because I was moving. Now I'm home. Now I'm moving. Things on the calendar coming up is finishing the next episode of Roll for Reads. Finishing Battle of the Brontes. Making progress on the Farseer trilogy so that can come out. Those are the main plans right now. I am thinking about doing reading sprints. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but it's a goal. It's popped in my head. I want to do it, especially because friends of mine say that they absolutely love the vlog style that I did with Roll with Reads. They want more of that. So I figured, you know what, we could do some reading sprints whenever I'm reading some books. I'm still going to do the vlogs and stuff like that. And I'm going to continue to do book reviews. I'm just being more intentional with my reading and things like that. So that's where we're at. If you have a series that you want me to read coming up, once we focus, we can do that. Nettie Reads the Hob. It's long. It's going to take a while. It is going to be a project for probably the next 2 years. This year and next year is what I mean by 2. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I think that's that. This has been a long wrap up. So nerds, I love you. Do the YouTube things, the like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you read in Q1. I'm very interested to see what was your best book of the quarter. I guess I have some wrap up stats I could give you that I forgot. Jesus Christ. When you forget that you did anything. So I should have started for the 2026 Q1 in January, February, and March. I read 29 books, totaling 8,762 pages with a total of 84.6 audio hours. I physically read 17 books, 10 audio, and 2 digital. My top 3 reads, no surprise to anyone. And now back to my top 3 reads. You'll figure it out if you can guess what my top 3 reads are at the end of the video. Let me know. All right, book nerds. I've yapped at you too long enough. See ya.